What the fuck? I paid $60 for this game and this dude is laughing like this? What the fuck?
God damn it! Do you hear this? Do you hear this, people? This is the sound of my hell! An eternity of this sound, and it never shuts up!
Yeah, it's real funny. You fucking clowns.
God. The fucking weirdest.
And that was the best take they got.
Okay. We need to discuss something. There's a scene in Final Fantasy X that has become something of a meme. The scene involves the main character, Tidus, laughing loudly to the sky. People like to point to this scene as an example of awful voice acting. And I'm wondering if we've all watched the same scene. Because, quite frankly, I think it's one of the best acted scenes in the game, and is one of my favorite scenes in video games, period. I think that the laughing scene from Final Fantasy X is wonderful. Not ironically enjoyable, not so bad it's good, genuinely and sincerely wonderful. And I'm hoping that, by the end of this video, even if you don't agree with me, you'll at least understand why. Now, the laughing scene from Final Fantasy X is wonderful is a bold claim. Everyone cringes at the awkward delivery, and it's pretty universally acknowledged as a bad scene. So who am I to say otherwise? Well, my name is Mac. I studied theater at Ball State University in Indiana for 5 years. I graduated with a Bachelor's of Fine Arts in Acting in 2016, and have been either working as or pursuing a career as a professional actor for several years now. So while I'm certainly not a master or anything, I like to think that I've studied and practiced the craft for long enough that I can speak with some authority on the subject. Because while that degree makes for a great coaster for my drinks, it may as well be used for something else once in a while. The thing that irks me the most about the criticism that is often tossed at this scene is that people never play the scene. They just play the laughter. People see a clip of just this laugh and think, that's not how someone is supposed to laugh. That's a really bad laugh take. They call it awkward, or forced, or fake, and see, that's the thing. It is. It is awkward, and forced, and fake. That's the point of the scene. Too often the laugh is played completely out of context without any sort of understanding of why he's laughing the way he does. Because this isn't the character's natural laugh. You can tell by rewinding the clip by just a couple of seconds.
This is weird.
See? That was a genuine laugh. So we know that the actor, James Arnold Taylor, knows how to do a genuine laugh take. The man is not an amateur. So that begs the question. Why? Why is he laughing in this manner that's so cringy? Well, to understand that, we need to do a bit of analysis on the two main characters in the scene, Tidus and Yuna. Oh, spoilers, by the way. Tidus is not from this world. It would take all day to go into detail about where and when exactly he is from, but here's the SparkNotes version. He's from a place called Zanarkand, and at the very beginning of the game, he is thrust into this new world called Spira by this horrific kaiju monster called Sin. His main goal throughout the beginning of the game is to get home, and he's helped on this journey by his new friends, Wakka, Lulu, and Yuna. The entire time, he acts loud, brash, obnoxious, and more than a little annoying. But quite frankly, why shouldn't he? He's surrounded by people he's never met, who don't know him, and once he gets back home, we'll never see him again. And best of all, he doesn't have his stupid father's face plastered on a billboard looking down on him. His father, Jecht, has always been a thorn in his side. Jecht would constantly berate him for not living up to expectations. Jecht was a famous blitzball player, and everybody loved him. And he knew it. Nothing Tidus did was ever good enough to compare. Even when he himself became a blitzball superstar, he was constantly compared to his old man. So, that's one good thing about being in this unfamiliar world. At least no one here knows who Jecht is.
How do you know that?
A man named Jack told me. He was my father's guardian.
Oh, shit. This isn't helped by finding other blitzball players who act just as cocky and condescending as his old man did. And when confronted by people who remind him of Jecht, his first instinct of a coping mechanism is to scream real loud. Ah! Which, honestly, makes a lot of sense for Tidus. All his life, people have spent all their attention on his father instead of on him. Even his own mother neglected him because she was too busy ogling her husband. Screaming and being obnoxious was probably the only way anyone would actually pay attention to him. And even here, in this world, where he might have, however briefly, been able to escape his father's shadow, he once again finds Jecht looming over him, in more ways than one, as he is struck with the revelation that not only is Jecht a legendary guardian, but has also been transformed into the most famous and well-known entity on the entire planet. His father is Sin. His father killed all those people in Kilika. His father killed Waka and Lulu's parents. His father has killed countless others. And his father is the one that brought him to this world. And the revelation of who his father has become is coupled with the fact that he can't go home. No matter how much he screams or cries, nothing will ever change that. He will never see anyone he's ever known or loved ever again. The man is usually so upbeat, some would say annoyingly so. But now, after having everything taken away from him, and his father being the direct cause of it, he's broken. His usual coping mechanism isn't going to work. He feels lost.
You sound sad.
Yeah, maybe.
Want to scream?
I really don't think that's gonna help this time.
Enter Yuna. In a lot of ways, Yuna is the same as Tidus. She's been living in her father's shadow for all of her life, as he is most famous for being a legendary high summoner. She is constantly trying to live up to his memory, which is why she became a summoner herself. And by sacrificing her life to defeat Sin, she knows that she will never see her home again. Just like Tidus. But unlike Tidus, Yuna doesn't cry. She doesn't pout. And she certainly doesn't scream real loud. Because she's not allowed to. She's a summoner. She's the daughter of High Summoner Braska. Her own position, as well as her father's legacy, means that she is, more than any other summoner, a symbol of peace and hope for all of Spira. She can't cry, and she can't show sadness. Because if our best chance at peace doesn't feel confident, well, then what hope do the rest of us have? Yuna and Tidus recognize each other as kindred spirits from the moment they met. Yuna understands Tidus. Maybe even envies him a little, considering he can just say whatever he thinks while she is forced to walk on eggshells. They speak at length about their relationships to their fathers. So, in a very real sense, probably better than anyone else in the entire world, they know what the other is going through. But Yuna has a coping mechanism too. And no, while it's not as in-your-face as Tidus is, it is no less encompassing for her. So, what does she do?
I learned to practice smiling when I'm feeling sad, you know.
And Yuna smiles a lot in this game. Which brings us to the scene in question. Yuna can tell that Tidus is feeling low. Understandable, they did just suffer from a major fiend attack on a public place, so she does something to cheer him up. The whistle that he taught her earlier, which, for the life of me, I cannot figure out how to do.
I've seen people do it, I know it's possible.
But when that doesn't work, she knows something is really wrong. She suggests his usual coping mechanism, as it has worked for him before. But when he solemnly rejects the idea, she tries a different tactic. She tries suggesting her own method. Now, she admits that it might not work for him. It's not an easy thing to do, smiling in the face of hopelessness. But the only way to know for certain is to try. Yuna has been pretty quiet and not terribly outspoken throughout this game so far. But she needs to bring him up. She needs to show him that it is still possible to be happy, even when it feels like it's not. She encourages him to try to smile, which he does, in a very forced manner that is difficult to convey with the PS2's limited graphic quality, but the ridiculousness of the act causes him to laugh genuinely. And that's a good start, but she needs to push further. She needs him to try and be the man she knows him to be. She tells him to laugh out loud. So he does. He forces out a laugh that is awkward and not at all genuine. You can even tell he does a little dip in his voice that shows some uncertainty in what he's doing. Yuna tells him that he should probably stop because what he's doing is embarrassing and weird. But it worked. Tidus is back to the man he was. When he sees that it's hilariously bad and that he's embarrassing the people around him, he doubles down and he gets the reaction that he wants. Yuna starts laughing at the absurdity of the moment. And even better than that, she puts her money where her mouth is and she joins in on the fun. The silliness of what they're doing catches up to them, and they burst into a fit of actual genuine laughter.
Too funny.
It was your idea.
Thank you.
Huh?
I want my journey to be full of laughter.
This moment of the scene is probably one of the most important parts. Yuna knows what she has to do in order to defeat sin. She is very much aware that happiness is going to be in short supply on this journey. Tidus, however, is blissfully unaware of this fact. I think that's the main reason why she needs Tidus to return to his normal self. He is, quite literally, the only one in the group who is staying positive throughout the entire pilgrimage. Without him, everyone will just be depressed and somber. Without someone to keep morale up, it is a distinct possibility that Yuna may give in to despair, which, as we've established, is not something she is willing or able to do. She doesn't just want, she needs for her journey to be full of laughter. I graduated from college with an acting degree in 2016. I spent the entire next several years working and saving money so that I could move to a city that would help me pursue my dreams of voice acting. I lived in shitty apartment after shitty apartment so that I could save up the money necessary for the move. I left everyone I had ever known and loved in order to pursue a dream that is a 1 in a million shot. But I did make that shot. I had successfully moved into a nice apartment in Dallas, Texas, and I was ready to hit the ground running and give it my all. And then the virus hit. Suddenly, any progress I made was completely halted in its tracks. Not because of any shortcoming on my part, but because the world said no. I can't follow my dream like I always planned to. I feel trapped most days, and often it takes a lot of effort just to get out of bed, let alone make breakfast. Some days are better than others, and some days are a lot worse than others. But when I'm at my lowest, I think of this scene. I think of Tidus and how he also found himself in a strange land with no one he knew. how he had dreams that were taken away from him, how he was in a funk and saw little to no hope, but his friend picked him up, dusted him off, turned him to the world, and told him to laugh. And I think about how, despite everything, he was still able to do it. As forced and awkward as the laugh may have been, he was still able to look up to the sky and laugh in life's face. And to me, that is why this is one of my favorite scenes in video games.